You are about to listen to a Jason Burgos exclusive interview. How you doing? I mean, it's a big week you got coming up next week. How you feeling? You excited? You nervous?
I'm a little bit of both. Healthy nerves, as they say.
All right, so I know I don't want to keep you up too long. It's late and stuff like that, so I'll jump right to the questions. I mean, you are in your 11th year in the sport, yet you started it in a later part of your life. You were 28 when you started professionally fighting. Tell me about your path to MMA and what got you into the sport.
Really, just a desire to compete got me into the sport. I was doing high school wrestling and security, and I still had that fire burning that I wasn't done competing. In wrestling, as far as collegiately, it didn't provide any financial support. So MMA had came along. I looked up, and a lot of my old college buddies was doing well, and I was like, yeah, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's see what this do. And I stuck with it ever since. I said I was going to be done at 36, but ain't nobody proved me wrong, so I'm still here.
I mean, what is like the origin? I mean, explain to me. I've read a little bit about it, but I'd rather get more clarification from you. The origin of your nickname of Put the Guns Down.
Put the guns down. Put the guns down came by from handguns. In all honesty, back in the gym, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, where and so I picked up the handguns in the same sense of put the guns down. Saying handguns, meaning let's fight with our hands instead of these guns. But as I was, using the nickname, the message seemed not to be getting through to most people. So I just went with something more simple and just said, put the guns down. So for those who can't use their imagination of what handguns really mean.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I love the nickname. I love the background. You are getting a higher level of status. You're getting a more spotlight on yourself. You're going to be in the PFL playoffs. A big deal. I mean, do you feel like any responsibility with that platform you were given to try and like bring awareness to the gun violence issues in Chicago?
I always have been someone to speak my mind, and I always, I lived although I pulled myself away from it personally, but it still affects me vicariously through somebody. There's not a murder that goes down in Chicago that I don't know somebody who knew that person, or if I didn't know that person myself. So just this past weekend, it was just a disgusting weekend of 2-year-olds getting killed and college-bound 16-year-olds getting killed in peaceful situations where guns shouldn't even be allowed at. So for me, it's a constant uphill battle, and I'm hoping to use anything I can get from PFL and anything going forward to help this community do better.
Did you ever have any real close calls in your own youth with the guns and ever shot at or anything serious?
I mean, honestly, more times than I can probably count. But that's just it's just normal. For what somebody else it'd be burnt in that mind forever. For me, is just normal. Oh yeah, this one time, it just happens so much. But it happens, and I had a chance to grow up and know why it happens, and I see why it's happening now, and I know that it doesn't need to happen. I just so I just want to continue to try to grow as a man and as a human, so I can come back and do some of my own humane work and humanitarian work. And affect more kids' life, affect more teenagers' lives.
Now, on to the MMA stuff. You enter the tourney off an undefeated season as a number 2 seed, and you've only lost once in the last 5 years. I mean, and that was to former World Series fighting champion David Branch. Do you feel any pressure, or maybe I should say more pressure than before? You are high seed, had a great career run. People are expecting bigger things from you. Is there a little bit more pressure in going into these playoffs?
I mean, for me, not at all. Honestly, that's almost the first. People didn't even now, they didn't even really consider I existed. Honestly, if you look at the way when this before the tournament even started, when they first started, getting people, they didn't think that I was gonna do. Every time I win, nobody picks me. It's not until right now when people finally start losing their money or whatever it is, it's making them look at this and go, I better stop betting against this kid. And I had a couple guys come up to me after my last one. They like, dude, every time I keep betting against you, and you just keep proving me wrong. I'm done betting against you, and I want you to. It's nice to have support, but knowing where people stand with you, if that works too. That works as a different type of fuel. So I use the negative and I use the positive. I'm not gonna worry about being anybody's favorite. I'm not gonna worry about having any pressure. I'm just gonna go out there and do it for myself and do it for my family and get the job done.
Now, give me a scouting report on your opponent, Rex Harris, in the quarterfinals. I mean, he didn't have a great season. He won a split decision in his first season battle. He lost his second fight, so he just squeaked in. I mean, what do you feel about him? What do you feel advantages you have? What are the things you have to be careful for? What are your overall thoughts going into this fight with Rex Harris?
Honestly, he's a dangerous opponent because he's somebody that doesn't go away. And he might not wow people, and he might not put these guys away, but he doesn't go away. He's always in a fight, whether it's typically a decision. And the last guy against Shamil, coming into this tournament, Shamil was actually touted as the number one person who everybody was worried about. And it just so happened that he ended up going with 2 decisions and no finishes. But like I said, I'm not going to put anything past Rex, because Rex is he's what you call a power fighter. He's a muscle head, a purebred wrestler. So wrestlers always can dictate where the fight goes and the pace of the fight, and he has the strength to make someone respect his hands. With that being said, I'm gonna win, and I don't know how. I don't know how. I'm not gonna predict that much. I just know I'm gonna win, and I'll shake his hand and pick him up and move on to whomever's next.
Do you think you're a better wrestler? Because you have a wrestling background, too.
I have a wrestling background, but I'm old, so I'm not going to say I'm a better wrestler.
But you got age and experience. You got that then.
Exactly. Well, I'll see what tricks I can pull off. But, this is MMA, not wrestling.
Yeah.
I'll say this much. Based on common opponents, I was able to get our common opponent down more times than he was. So if we're going, who's the better wrestler? I'll take that as a leg up.
And now, you mentioned looking ahead and stuff like that, or looking at other opponents. Is there at all an inclination to kind of look ahead to who you could face in the semifinals if you win? I mean, I talked to a few fighters a couple of weeks ago that were on the last playoff card, and they all pretty much had the same answer. And I'm guessing you might, but I wanted to know if there's even an itch where you kind of, let me see who the other 2 guys, just so I can know in that 30 to 45 minute period while I'm waiting, at least prepare for them. Is there anything, or it's just full on focus Rex Harris and that's it?
It's full focus Rex Harris, but I have had the luxury of being matched up against Shamil probably 3 or 4 times previously, and those fights never happening. And I believe I was matched up against John Howard possibly once before, and I've watched his career. So in my mind, I have a good, idea of who these guys are as martial artists. So I won't do too much, glaring and staring. I'm gonna focus in on Rex, and then when the time comes between whoever it is between them, I'm gonna take them out and move on too.
Now, you fought for World Series of Fighting several times before, and now you're a PFL fighter. What differences are there in the company after they've rebranded and restructured for you?
I honestly can tell you it's an entirely new company. You still got the race FOs and, certain staff members, but beyond that, it is an entirely new company. I mean, World Series of Fighting really, I don't know if they even wanted me to be on their contract. They never really used me until they did start using me, and I actually started winning. Then they got the ball rolling for me. But I had sat on the shelf with them for almost 2 years. With that, contract, and then it came a point to where it's better to stay than leave type scenario. But with the PFL, ever since, they got this season going, I've had 2 fights this year. I'm coming up on my third. I fought one time all of last year, so I'm a happy man right now just to be active. I'm getting too old to be sitting around waiting on something, someone to call my phone. So I just want to get active. I want to actively chase my dreams and actively try to achieve them while I still have a good fighting chance.
Now, you brought up your age and stuff like that. Now, I mean, at 39, you're 39, right?
Yes.
Okay. At 30, I mean, how much longer do you see yourself continuing on the sport? I mean, and have you started to plot, what you might do after life? Is it going to be the outreach and going back to the community and doing things like that? Like, how much longer do you want to do this?
So, like I said, I can't outreach. You can't outreach without money. Honestly, no one
Yeah.
respects nobody with no. I don't care how nice of a person you are as a human, whatever it is. No one respects you if you don't have money, and that goes tenfold in the hood. So, I'm not gonna waste my breath being just as broke, telling somebody when I'm broke to put the guns down. Yeah, all right. Now going back and giving back with a somewhat under $1 million in my pocket, that's a different story. So that gives me more leverage and more weight. When you want to have things done, it gives you more. People are gonna want to show up because people are greedy. So they're gonna want to be a part of certain things, but it's not gonna benefit them personally. It's gonna benefit the community as a whole. But as far as me, how long I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna stay until I get this job done. I'm gonna stay as long until I can win this thing. If it takes this year, if it takes next year, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna be the PFL champ 2018 or 2019. One of them's gonna have Taylor right next to it soon.
Now, I mean, going back to the age, I mean, because you are on a great run of your career. You are the proverbial fine wine, aging and getting better. Like, what is it that you're doing at 39 that you're still able to compete at this high level? Were you always just a great athlete growing up? That's why you were able to jump in the sport at 28? Like, what is it that you're doing to keep yourself at this level?
I mean, I've been ready to go, but like I said, if no one's watching or they're not giving you a platform to show the world, then no one's gonna look. And it just so happened that finally PFL is giving me a platform. I did my thing in WSOF. I made my way in 3 fights to that title shot against Branch, and again, a lot of people didn't expect me to beat Branch, but I almost beat him 2-3 times in that fight. If you go back and watch it, it was a great fight, but he pulled away. And I got, one day maybe I'll get a chance to get that back, but he's a great champ, and I'm just moving on from that loss. But since when you lose against someone who people expect you to lose against, they discredit you. They don't really, the fight didn't get a lot of views, so people really didn't see, how good of a fight it was. But it was a great bout.
Now, for the folks that are in this, I mean, even the quarterfinalists, if you lose in the quarterfinals, you're going to make $50,000. If you lose in the semifinals, you're going to make $100,000, and then $200,000 for the runner-up, and then the $1 million. I mean, even for that, are these some of the biggest paydays you've ever had in your career? And even $50,000 is going to be a not life changer, but a huge moment for you, even at that level.
I mean, 50. Honestly, nothing less than 250 would really do much, but. I'll be happy with it. Don't get me wrong. That's still like another year. Like I said, I'm more than happy to make the 50. I'm more than happy to make 100. But if I don't make that, I need that 250. I need to pay off the house. You understand? I got goals, and that's one of the goals. The million's nice, but my goal is to make it into the finals. Anything less than the finals is a disappointment.
I mean, you're so close to that $1 million. Now, are there any other ideas you have in the back of your mind? You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, but you mentioned the house. Any other stuff that you can really picture yourself needing and wanting and can't wait for if you can get that $1 million at the end of the line?
Honestly, I just want to pay off the house. Once you pay off that mortgage and you stop wasting $800-900 to PMIs and stupid extra bills. I'm just trying to get the house paid off. Take that debt off our shoulders, and then the rest of, I can figure out everything else. It'll be a lot smoother from there.